There we go. All right, I'll hand it off to you, Kiara and Kimberly.
Thanks, Amanda. Can you guys see my Google Slides?
Yes, we can.
Awesome. All right. So like Amanda said, I'm Kiara. I'm going to be presenting with Kimberly, and we're going to be talking today about product interest scoring and how that can help take your marketing and sales outreach to the next level. So first, a bit about us. I am Kiara. I'm a two-time Marketo champ. I'm currently working as the marketing operations manager at Digital Shadows. I've been a Marketo user for about 5 years, and I've been certified since 2017.
And I'm Kimberly. I know most of you, but nice to meet you if I haven't met you personally yet. And I'm a two-time Marketo champ, 2020 Lean Data Ops Star of the Year. I am the marketing operations manager at Bandwidth. I've been using Marketo for about 3 years and certified since 2018.
So what are we going to talk about today? We all know that behavior and demographic scoring is great, and we've all probably got some sort of model of one or both of those. But how do we handle it when you have multiple product lines and you want to know what's the top interest for your prospect? So we're going to show you how to do product interest scoring in order to solve for this problem. I also want to make the point here that if you only have one product line, that's okay. You can use this same format for other things. We have one product line, but we have several distinct use cases that we use this for. So we're going to be talking about product interest scoring just for ease of conversation today, but you can definitely think about it in other contexts as well. So today we're going to be talking about how to set it up and then a couple of different use cases for both marketing and sales. So first, how do we set up product interest scoring? So the first thing you'll want to do is decide which products you'll want to score and then assign each product a unique code that you'll use to tag all of your relevant programs in Marketo.
And then you'll want to map all of your relevant Marketo programs and web pages to each of those products you've decided on. And we'll go through this a little more in detail, just so you know, in a little bit.
Then you'll want to update all of your Marketo program names and include that code that you decided on in the first step. And you'll want to make sure that that code is very unique, probably a mixture of numbers and letters, just to make sure that it doesn't accidentally show up in your other naming conventions for whatever reason.
And then update all of your relevant web page URLs as well to include those codes that Kiara just mentioned you decided on.
And then lastly, you'll want to create a score field for each different product that you're scoring. And then you're pretty much ready to start building out your product interest scoring. So how do we get started once we have all this? It's super simple. Let's say that my product interest score code for email marketing, for example, is EM01. All I have to do for program membership is trigger off of program name contains that code that I've decided on here. And then you can do it based on new status, based on success, whatever other criteria you'd like. But as long as you're triggering off of EM01 or whatever code you decide, it's super simple. That's all you have to do. And then in the flow, you'll just update the score. And I've seen this done a couple of different ways with the score. I originally had set it up such that the scores mirrored, like the scores for the product interest activities mirrored those of our like normal scoring. That ended up being super confusing for sales. And so now we just give a +1 for every activity. So you can have that be whatever you'd like for it to be.
And then, sorry, yeah, my mute is taking a minute. My computer at this time of day just likes to lose its mind. The visits web page trigger is what you'll update your web activity on for scoring. So I always do visit web page contains and then that code that we're talking about, and then obviously update your score in the flow step there. And then how do you get started? So how I originally just started was got my web developer and my demand gen manager to scrape the website URLs. We used Screaming Frog or whatever it's called to scrape all of the URLs. And then I went through and categorized them all into each product bucket so that I could go update those Marketo programs with URL contains because I don't use Marketo landing pages. And then I updated all of the URLs that applied for each product in each program. You can also export all your active smart campaigns and do the exact same thing. So find all of the programs, sort them by product, and then add these to the scoring programs. And then the next thing you want to do is build scoring flow steps, smart campaigns into your templates. That way, when you're cloning a template and whatever product it is, it's already in that program. And then you just have to update it before you hit go. And then another thing is if you're doing offers and stuff like that, you can export those offers and sort them that way as well.
And then the last step here, I think, when we look at someone's demographic or behavior score, we can kind of extrapolate something from it, right? A behavior score of 75, you kind of know what that means in your database. It means less with a product interest score, right? Because, that score alone doesn't mean a whole lot. So I think the most valuable applications of this data require us to understand what is the top interest here. And so this can be accomplished by creating a field to calculate a top product interest. I think it's best done in CRM. That's how I've always done it, is using Salesforce to calculate it, but you can do it however you'd like. I think just the most important thing for these applications we're about to show you is to make sure that you understand what the top interest is. So what are the applications for marketing?
So the first one that's really simple and an easy win is looking at your nurture journey. So if you want to revamp and personalize it from a product interest level, you can actually just go ahead and base it off that. One thing we've done is split the actual nurture into the products. And then that way, when they're coming in, if they have an interest score, you can pipe them directly into that nurture program that they show the top interest for. Or you can go ahead and create a stream for each product, and then they can move streams based on their scoring. So either way, both I think work really well, but it gives you that flexibility in your nurture to give people the product that they're most interested in, and then let them learn about the other products along the way. So another use case is with product marketing. So one thing that we've worked on specifically with our product marketing team is that actual talk track for what products you're using, and then also like what you should be saying. So our product marketers will reach out to us and want us to do super targeted outreach for a webinar or a new campaign or a product GA launch. And it's really hard to get that targeted outreach without understanding who is most interested in what product. So if you want that focus, you can use your product interest scoring to just segment that audience. Content planning is another one. So you can just export all your data and understand who is looking at which products, which is most popular, and you can create your content roadmap based on this information. And then also our product marketing team is always very interested in audience size. So looking at what those buckets are looking like numbers wise, you can report back on the segment size, the engagement of that product interest bucket, if you will, on a regular basis so that they can adjust their marketing as well.
So another use for this is dynamic content. So let's say you're not ready for full nurture tracks or whole nurture programs based on product. I think dynamic content can be a really easy, quick win in your emails or landing pages. So all you'd have to do is create a segmentation based on the top product interest field. And then you can make your emails or landing pages or what have you dynamic based on that top interest. You can try sending, a dynamic CTA or change one little sentence, but I think this can be a really good way to kind of A/B test it and prove it out to your team if people are a little bit more hesitant to kind of change what they're doing with nurture. Another really simple application of this, that GIF, I can't. Another really simple application of this that's kind of a really good quick win is I think a lot of us are sending prospects to a very generic follow-up page after they fill out a form. And product interest scoring can allow us to kind of show them content they're really interested in. So instead of just thanks for filling out this form, we'll be in touch, you can give them thanks for filling out this form, we'll be in touch. And here's 3 different assets that are applicable to your use case based on what we know about your top product interest. Another really similar one to the last two that I just shared is a suggested content block. So you can use this instead of having to every follow-up page and every email do something new dynamic. You can just create a suggested content snippet in Design Studio and just switch out the content as often as you want and just input that snippet into whatever landing page, email, what have you, so that you don't have to every time figure out, okay, which content do I want to use, what should go well here, etc. So that's what we have for marketing. There's obviously so much more that you can do with it. These were just a couple of examples that we pulled aside, but let's go into now some applications for sales.
So the first one, and part of the reason we started our product scoring was because sales reps would get cold leads. We have a process where we hand them over pretty quickly, and they didn't really know where to start the conversation. So they were asking for more information about what product they were looking for. And a lot of times you can't get all of that information if you don't have MSI or all of the other intent data tools that show every website they've been or web page they've been to. So this has been really helpful for us to just put it like that screenshot shows on the Salesforce in our instance page layout. And then that way they can pull up the lead record and see, okay, this person has this email marketing as their top. So I will call them and start talking to them about that. And then that makes it just easier for a cold conversation, obviously. And then they can also incorporate that into their entire talk track. And then another easy way is to include it as a token. So that way you can send them alerts about their activity and what they're most interested in as well.
Yep. And then the last one that we have for you here is alerts about current customers. So a lot of what we've been talking about today has been very prospect heavy, but it's just as important to understand what our current customers are interested in as well. And so one really good application of this is to understand, like, if you have a current customer who doesn't own a specific product, but they're surging in that product score, that is a great time to send your salesperson an email about it, right? So something like this, we have here, hi salesperson, Kiara is surging in email marketing and she doesn't have that product, go upsell to her. And it would be so simple to set up. All you have to do is a smart campaign that triggers off of hitting whatever threshold you decide for that specific score, and then some filters to make sure that they're a current customer that doesn't already own that that product, and then just send alert. Super easy. So that's what we had for you guys today. There's our info if you are trying to set this up and you have any questions, but obviously feel free to ask us any questions now as well.
Awesome.